The LGBTQIA++++ ideology is being pushed on children much younger than that under the banner of diversity and inclusion. And whatever nonsense they use to justify drag queen story time for toddlers, some kids are fighting back. These school children from a middle school in Utah staged a protest because they say the principal isn't doing enough to protect them from furries.
A group of about 75 protesters showed up to Nebo Middle School today.
A bill wanting to get animal control involved for students who dress and act like animals.
Another kid got bit by one of them.
They say it's an issue over students who call themselves furries.
Have you heard of the term furries? Lawmaker has filed a bill that would keep furries from participating in school curriculum or activities.
Well, they're people who act as animals.
Parents say there's an issue between some students and others who call themselves furries.
Excuse me. Do you guys know where the convention is?
I'm turning the tides now. So I got my own camera. I brought it with me. I can't see what I'm taking a picture of, but I got it.
Too often do people judge each other based on how they simply express themselves. In order to justify this dislike, they create harmful stereotypes, lies, and misinformation that make certain groups of people look like monsters. The furry community is unfortunately one of the victims of quick judgment. It already is hated on greatly by center and right-wing media, as more than 80% of the community identifies as LGBTQ+, and more than 25% identifies with having existing anxiety disorders, ADHD, or autism, according to Fur Science, a group of scientists that study the growing fandom. Also, according to Fur Science, roughly 75% of furries reported being under the age of 25, and almost 60% of the community is estimated to be either full-time or part-time students in post-secondary education. This means that the vast majority of furries are actually college students or graduates from post-secondary institutions, making them very well educated in their respective fields of studies.
However, being a furry for these people has not always been a pleasant experience. Roughly 61% of furries have reported being verbally and even physically harassed throughout their life, more often during their adolescent stage. The same percentage of furries, quote, felt prejudice against them from society. It unfortunately does not end there, since a good quarter of the furry community reported needing to visit counseling or therapy for existing medical conditions. Many of them reported that they were, quote, driven away by therapists who ignored the problems they were experiencing, i.e. depression and anxiety, and instead turned their focus on being a furry as the root problem. In a growing and ever-changing world, learning about communities like this is essential in fostering a sense of belonging and acceptance. For this presentation, I managed to reach out and find a well-known LGBTQ and furry content creator who goes by the name Fizz Lee or Fizzy. Currently, he resides in South New Jersey, where the furry scene is becoming ever more popular amongst the young population. So tell me, Fizz, how did you become a furry, and can you tell me what it means to have a fursona, for example, and what is your fursona?
Well, it all started, I used to play Viva Pinata or other animal games, and I always wanted to make one of my own. I would always kind of put myself in that situation and be like, oh, I wish I had a character or something. I always like to represent myself with characters. Basically, that's what being a furry is. It's just you're representing yourself with your own character. Mine is a spotted hyena. You just basically make it your own, and you can get the character customized to how you want. It's pretty fun.
Can you explain what it means to be a furry, and for those who aren't familiar with the term, obviously, and how does being part of the furry community relate or intersect with being part of the LGBTQ community?
So basically, being a furry is like joining any other fandom. Like if you were a gamer or if you like anime, it'd be like you have to want to be in it. Like it's not just because I know there's a lot of popular like anthropomorphic animal characters, but obviously everyone that likes those characters, it doesn't automatically make them a furry. But being in the community, in the furry fandom, it's very inclusive. It's very LGBT inclusive. There's a lot of like pride stuff that they do. There's a lot of fundraising that goes on.
So, do you think being a furry offers a unique space for people to explore their gender and their sexual identity?
I think it's a safe space for people that are like discovering who they are because I mean a lot of it, like I said, is like predominantly LGBTQ plus. So people will figure out like what sexualities fit them the best, what kind of like relationship they're going for, who they are. And you know, you talk to a lot of people, they have common ground. So whenever you're talking to like friends or like anyone that's interested in the fandom that is also part of the LGBTQ plus, then you can kind of figure out from there like different concepts and like just in general what something is.
Have you experienced any judgment for being a furry, and are there any misconceptions you feel that are still prevalent today that is directed towards furries?
Yeah, so I mean, I've gotten like my fair share of hate, but it happens when you're on the internet or if you're out wearing this in public. You know, people are gonna judge you. I feel like a lot of it is because of like it's like a bandwagon thing. Not a lot of people know exactly what furries are, and they don't want to take the time to research. They're too lazy, so they just you know everyone hates on them. It's cool, whatever. But a lot of people think that one, we think we actually are animals, which most furries don't. That's a separate thing. Two, they think that we're sexually attracted to animals, which we're definitely not. That's like a criminal thing. We're not involved in that. Personally, I think it's just because like people see like dude, we're animals and then they'll be like, oh, so we're sexually attracted to them or we think they are and it's just like no, I just it's like dress up like a mascot. Like this is my character, I'm a mascot. I'm sorry.
Do you feel like the reason for this hate towards the furry community is because, in fact, that the furry community is majority LGBT?
Honestly, yeah, because a lot of LGBTQ stuff gets judged like immediately, no matter what. Like I said, they could be doing the most amazing thing in the world, and people will still find a way to judge it because of their own beliefs, or maybe some kind of like parental thing that they grew up with, and that's just how they believe it. I think a lot of it is kind of just like hate for no reason, and it's honestly just sad. You know, you're like, don't judge people.